Mike Weinberg, you are my preferred moron caller outer. Can we talk about morons today? Just a
Yeah.
little bit.
You are my preferred Sales Truth t-shirt model. So no, I didn't pay Jeff for wearing that shirt today, but he looks so much better in it than I do that I said, let's get online and have this conversation that we started on LinkedIn. Yeah, it's easy to call out morons, especially on LinkedIn, because there's a lot of nonsense. But you and I got going the other week on one of your good buddies posts I really like. So
David Massover, a friend of ours, posted actually a quote from your book, and I'm reading it here. True sales hunters and top producers take responsibility for filling their own pipeline with opportunities. And he made another mention about the current segmentation of roles and SDRs versus AEs and having people kind of stay in their lane. And Larry Levine, another good friend of ours, said that sales professionals need to take full responsibility for their pipelines. And I brought up something. I said, well, what about the companies where people are told to stay in their lanes? I'm an account executive. I've got an SDR team over here creating opportunities for me. I'm trying to do my job. I'm trying to do the job they're paying me to do. And they're saying it's not my job to create opportunities. And look, I don't disagree with any of the points that you make in your book, Mike, but you kind of hit back on me there and said, show me a company that's giving enough opportunities. Where do people fit? What are people supposed to do?
Well, let's start out with the fact that I hit back at you because your answer and comment was so wise and mature that I just couldn't let it sit there. I needed to bring a more extreme, statement. And here's the reality. I love segmentation of roles. I love when people are operating in their area of natural giftedness, right? I love when we let hunters hunt and zookeepers zookeep. And if we have real senior AEs and closers, ideally, we'd love them playing in the middle and bottom of the funnel, right? Where there were three sales verbs: create, advance, and close. That's all that matters. And I'm going to be preaching about that all year long because I see so many salespeople that get lost in everything else. And ideally, in these very segmented roles, the true AE, the senior salesperson, would simply be advancing and closing. They would be handed enough opportunities through either their company's inbound effort, through the SDR team, however those deals were materializing, they would get served up to them. So in an ideal world, yes, we would love those people having more to work than they could possibly get to. But in 100%, not 95%, in 100% of the real companies where I work and I observe what's going on, I never see a salesperson that has too many real opportunities in their funnel that they don't have to spend time creating their own. So my pushback, while I love the wisdom of the clarity of role separation, is it's pretty darn rare to find someone who's got an overflowing funnel. Most people, as our friend Anthony Anarino says, are opportunity starved. So top hunters and perennial people, people who perennially crush their quota, they own the top of the funnel as well as the middle and the bottom. That's my angle on that.
Totally agree. And I think, if you're not hitting your number for whatever reason, the first and really the only place you need to look is the mirror, right? I mean, there's ultimately you're responsible for that bogey. You get it at the first of the year and you got 12 months to figure out a way to hit it. So, make no mistake about that. I think where I kind of leaned, particularly with my commentary on this post, is where the hyperbole gets even more extreme, like extreme even for hyperbole. And people take the opportunity to say, well, if you're not hunting and killing alone, if that's not all you're doing, then you're not actually in sales. And, you make the point very saliently. There's a very well-defined and very valuable role for zookeepers. Right? Someone has to do that. And I've made the point before, it's easier to get $100 out of an existing, customer or client than it is to try to find a brand new one to give you 20. And last I checked, $100 goes further than 20. But you can't also just sit back and try to say you're looking for $100 where there's nothing left.
No, that's perfect. And we could probably have 6 different recordings on this topic that you just brought up. If you've got growable accounts, you need to work them and penetrate them. And where I get frustrated with salespeople who manage a book, a territory, a portfolio, whatever you call it in your industry, most people overserve their favorite customers at the expense of going to see the jerk customer who is growable. You've got 10% of the potential business with them. You should probably have 50, but you don't like them or they don't love your company, so you don't invest in them. So you take your favorite client to play golf, right? And that's to me, it's just babysitting. But I'm with you. We can always, it's always easier to get more business from an existing client. And we do need people who are wired like farmers and zookeepers to maintain and serve accounts, and they should be rewarded for penetrating and growing that business. Because the reason we make money in sales is not to babysit, it's not to caretake, it's not to maintain, even not to renew, it's to grow revenue. And to grow, you got to focus on growth, which means you pursue the tougher accounts, right, that need to be cracked.
And I love the way you illustrate that. I love all of the points that you make, not just in Sales Truth, but in all the other work that you do. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for recording this little video with me, Mike. This was fun. And we'll see what people have to say about it.
You're the best, Jeff.